Now we're moving on to Pessary-Like devices. These are not official pessaries. There are a wide array of devices that people have been known to insert into their vaginal canals to help with symptoms of prolapse. We're going to go over several of those Pessary-Like devices. Always check with manufacturer's guidelines and follow what the instructions say, and also check with your healthcare provider to determine what's safe for you. Tampons. There is some research showing that tampons can help with stress urinary incontinence, or that's urine leakage when you cough or sneeze or exercise. There's also anecdotal evidence that it may help with symptoms of prolapse. However, using a tampon when you're not menstruating may increase your risk of toxic shock syndrome. As you know, there is a wide variety of tampons out there available. So I'm choosing to show you two of my favorite types. I personally like using that applicator. I think it feels better inserting it, and it just goes smoother for me. This is a Super Plus tampon. Really think about this, like if you're using a tampon to help with symptoms of prolapse, are you going to want the smallest size tampon? You know, because you're trying to insert that into the vaginal canal to help hold those organs up. You're probably not going to want to go with the smallest. So here, this is a Super Plus, and then there's also an Ultra size here that's a little bit bigger than the Super Plus. And basically, here's our vulva. You would insert that tampon into the vaginal canal. Sometimes it can feel difficult to insert the tampon. And so really kind of visualize the anatomy. If you have an anterior vaginal wall prolapse where that bladder is starting to drop down there, and you're trying to insert it like this, you're going to be hitting that bulge, right? And so you'll probably want to angle that tampon back towards the tailbone a little bit to help insert the tampon. And then vice versa. If you are having more of that posterior vaginal wall prolapse and you try to insert it like that, you might feel something kind of blocking. So then you might want to angle it a little bit more towards the pubic bone and see what works for you. The next Pessary-Like device is called Contam. So this is what the box looks like. There are, again, lots of different shapes and sizes. I have 4 sizes here, and basically it looks kind of like just a giant tampon, but it's hard. I don't know if you can hear that. And so basically what you do with these is that you soak them in water for a few seconds so that they soften up, and then you would insert them into the vaginal canal. In terms of size comparison, so here is the Super Plus tampon. Here is the small size of the Contam Pessary. Then that's a comparison of what it looks like Super Plus versus Contam. You can see definitely that the Contam is bigger. And then here is the largest size Contam. So you can see that's quite a bit bigger. And so if you're someone that's tried a tampon and you just aren't able to keep it in place, one of these larger devices might do the trick. Now let's talk about menstrual cups. So this is a really eco-friendly option for helping to manage menstruation. There is some concern too that a menstrual cup could potentially worsen prolapse. So like if you have the menstrual cup in and you're pulling it out, that could create like a suction pulling down on the organs and those vaginal walls. So to be on the safe side, you know, to my knowledge, there isn't any research on that, but the theory, I think, is valid. So just to be on the safe side, when you have that menstrual cup inside and you're removing it, make sure that you're kind of squishing it to help break the suction and then removing it so that it's not potentially suctioning those organs. This is at this point just a theoretical concern that menstrual cups could potentially worsen prolapse. We don't have any research on this. But again, I think it just makes sense to be cautious. And so if you have a menstrual cup, reach in a little bit deeper, break that suction, and then gently remove it. And if you've tried all the different shapes and sizes of menstrual cups and you just haven't been successful, know that you're not alone. I would say that the majority of people that I hear with prolapse, and you'll also see this in the survey from my account, have a difficult time with menstrual cups and prolapse. Here is something called a menstrual disc. And so it can take some practice and some finesse to get it positioned correctly, but these are disposable, and there are some people out there that think that this may help some with prolapse. Although in my opinion and from the experience of working with people, I'd say that the majority of people with prolapse also have a difficult time keeping this in the right place, especially with more severe or advanced prolapse. Now let's talk about sponges. So there are natural sea sponges and there are synthetic sponges. People may use these sponges for prolapse support or also during menstruation. There's also concern that little pieces of the sponge may be left behind in the vaginal canal. In fact, there are even some companies that have gotten in trouble with the FDA or the Food and Drug Administration in the USA for marketing sponges as being able to help with prolapse or as a replacement for tampons without pre-approval. I hope that this overview of pessaries and pessary-like devices that provide internal support has been helpful. Just remember that if one option doesn't work for you, it's very possible that another option might, so don't give up.